other day when I was
Sorry.
that's okay. The other day when I was skiing, I stopped. I had taken some pictures. I posted, and then I kind of went skiing again. I came back and it had blown up. And other times I feel like I'm on top of it. So I guess for
Yep.
me, it's like the pictures and the content need to be obviously engaging and interesting, but I'm just seeing that like personal, more personal stuff tends to play out better. Like people are, it's my guess, right? But they seem to respond to that more or less.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because it's in the weekend and people are looking to keep things a little bit light and easy, and coming and commenting on somebody going skiing is an easy lift.
Yeah.
So I don't exactly know what I'm learning other than like, and again, this is, for Jeremy or anybody who's just getting started, the more I do it, the easier it is. And just to do it now every single day is becoming easier and easier, because I'm making a list of like, here's the different ideas. So I've got kind of this running list of stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm looking for pictures that match, or I'm taking pictures that work. And then I'm reverse engineering it, like yesterday's whole thing about the sunrise and the timing and stuff like that. It kind of came to me on the walk, and it was an easy, throw together. So again, the more you do it, the easier it is, I guess, is a simple
Yeah.
comment on that.
Yeah. And I think that confidence in posting, even though there's some ambiguity around what's really working, because sometimes you create a post and it does really great, and then you do that same post again or similar style and it bombs, right? It's frustrating, but that consistency is one of the motions that we need to learn and embrace, and know that the consistency of it, um, the ambiguity of it, the ups and downs are just part of the process. It's kind of that weird thing. You just got to get used to the fact that it's not a perfect system.
Can you hear me, Brandon?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm having this problem with it kicking back and forth to my phone. Yeah, along the same lines of Chris. One, I do believe the more you do it, one of the things that you have told me early on, and I didn't pay attention to you, that I'm learning is just post, just post. And, there are no grades on LinkedIn. And if it bombs, it bombs. Um, Monday, I was just pulling a blank. Well, actually, Sunday, I was pulling a blank for Monday. Wrote a post about some lilies and got the most impressions I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Thought I had a great post yesterday, and wasn't even hardly worth posting.
Yeah.
For engagement.
Yeah. So part of this is we
Hey, Brandon, can I say
yeah,
one more thing?
of course.
What I have found, to Chris's point about human, I think human is the key. And where I've had the most success is to tie it into some business principle or.
We lost you again, but I like where you were going. I'll pick it up for him. That fusion of personal and business is really our sweet spot. I think using the personal post, the selfies. That's why I'm always pushing the selfies. There's the psychology of it is that our human hearts connect with other people. So they see that picture of us, and the data is pretty clear that pictures of people just get a lot more engagement. Pictures of fewer people, like you do a big group, they don't get as good of engagement, but 2-3 people, you by yourself, selfies. I know that it's hard because it brings up all these negative images of social media being self-promoting, right? The duck faces and the quote unquote influencers, especially for me, it's like, I hear the word influencer. The tendency is to think about like bikini models on Instagram and things like that you're like, but that's not who I want to be. I don't look good in a bikini. I know that. But this selfie, it helps other humans connect with us. They see our face, they see where we are, they're curious. You know, the picture I did in the airport yesterday, there's some curiosity around it. Oh, you're in a different place. Where are you? So doing the selfies, even, you know, I do some when I'm on the walk. I do some from my backyard. I do some from my other office. I do some from the Jeep. And all of that is to keep it different so that people are curious. Oh, where are you? What are you doing? Then the content is where we get to be strategic about what do we want them to know and what are we trying to accomplish. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, about creating that content strategy. Now, all of this, I want you guys to remember, is we're talking about content today, and content alone isn't the magic bullet. It's a process. It's a system. We're creating content. We're commenting. The commenting part gets us in front of new people. And then we're also doing two things with our, I'm going to call it outreach, because there is an outreach component of it. Even though we're not doing the phone calls as much and things like that, the outreach component is who are we sending messages to? And what are we asking them to do? That's where we start asking for calls. So we do it by one, we go out and find the people that we want to talk to. But the other one is we're looking at who's viewed our profile, because our activity starts creating more profile views. And then we use that as a slightly open door. Oh, you looked at my profile. Cool. I was on your mind, right? You thought of me. And then we leverage that who viewed the profile and see the people. One, I send connection requests to most of them. If they viewed my profile and they didn't connect, or they viewed and followed, I've got my messages. Hey, I saw you looked at my profile. You followed me, something along those lines. That's awesome. Would you like to connect? And just accumulating those connections. I know it's a vanity metric, but the psychology of it too is the more connections we have, it lowers the barrier of other people when they're looking at us. We're influential. Oh, people follow this guy. People are paying attention. So there is that component of it. So remember, our content isn't the magic bullet. This isn't the snake oil stuff. If you post it, they will come, but it is a big part of it. Butch, I don't know if you heard me. I want to make sure I tapped into what you were going to say, using the personal pictures, but then the business side. No, can't hear you. So I could read lips. I could read lips though, and I saw that.
I heard a big old F within the front of it.
There we go. Hey, Brandon, quick question for you. So I kind of had a theory, and I don't know that it's correct, but having, closing in on 2 months worth of posting, I've got 60 posts that are in there, viewing that kind of like a portfolio or a series of case studies or whatever, right? That
Yes.
data is there for people to look at. So when people do go to look at your profile, is there data around like, oh, they normally will go down and look at, I don't know, what this guy posted in the last 10 days or something like that? Is that something that happens, or
Yeah.
like what's the thought there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think if you think about our profile, we've got the featured section that we need to turn on and be strategic about what we put there. And, my featured section is all my best posts, and not best from an engagement standpoint. My best posts from an engagement standpoint aren't usually about exactly what I do. But they're the posts in there that are my carousels, right? They're my shows that are very specific. I use featured as a way to really educate people on the value proposition that we offer. And I do believe, and I don't have perfect data for this either, but I know from my own activity, and you guys think about your activity, you go look at somebody's profile, what do? Like, I look at what featured content, because their featured content is, this is what they want me to know about them. And I will go look at their last several posts. I'll go to their post activity and go look and see, like, what do they do? For me, I'm always looking to, like, do they engage? Do they comment? Are they engaging? Or do they just post brochures about themselves? For me, that says a lot about the person. and how they view business. Are they sales, 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 all about me, me, me? Or are they educating? Are they adding things that I want to learn from? I want to learn about. So yeah, I think there's a lot of value to that on our profile, because it creates our reputation. It gives them an impression of who we are as a person.
So, Brandon, where you're at right there, this leads into what I was talking about yesterday, where the fine line between, sharing stories, personal stories, excuse me, and weaving in some of that business and educational stuff.
Yep.
That's where I'm trying to find that fine line.
Yep.
So can you, any thoughts on that?
Yep. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Hey, what do you know?
So, hey, I bring this to say it's the LinkedIn activity goal, because it's what I was just saying. It's not post it and they will come. It's not just send messages and people will go, oh, give me a demo. Like, we know all that stuff. Cups, I think I saw you on here. I kind of went down a soapbox on your post yesterday. If you didn't notice all my comment.
No, I did. And I went on it too. I just hit a frustration point. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that buyers are fatigued. I mean, think about yourself as a buyer. Everybody think about your own inbox, how many messages you get a day, how many times your phone rings. And man, I love my my iPhone now. It'll tell me possible spam. Like, I mean, I just don't, I don't know about you guys. I just don't answer my phone unless I know who it is.
I'm the same way.
Right. And our buyers are the same way. So again, it's LinkedIn activity to help us reach our goals. But we're going to specifically talk a little bit about the content side of things. I just don't want this to sound like, oh, just create content and magic happens. It's part of the overall goal. The words demand creation or demand generation have been a marketing term. And there's that big separation of like what marketing does in creating MQLs and then what sales does from an outreach. What's happening is,
Brandon, could you say that again, please?
yes, demand generation is a term, and whether people use it the right way or not, it's hard to tell a lot of times, but it's a term that tends to be in the marketing side of the business. We're going to go out and generate demand. We're going to create thought leadership. We're going to become experts at this. Great. Then sales, we are outreach oriented, right? This is where we're making calls, we're sending emails, and we're asking for meetings. If we look at like Cup's post yesterday about getting 14 direct messages trying to sell him lead generation, buyers are fatigued with all the outbound messages, and the marketing messages around creating demand are getting lumped into that bucket. They're just more emails that we have to delete. They're just more messages that we have to ignore. Even in social content, when the company is posting, and even if it's good thought leadership, we tend to ignore it because it's being published by the brand. It's the result of fatigue. It's the result of, and I kind of went down this rabbit hole, that in 2011, the MarTech 150 came out. Scott Brinker, HubSpot guy, I think was a great idea. Is he said, hey, these are the 150 MarTech tools that are out there. Let's categorize them so everybody knows how to look at them and what to think about them. Well, here we are coming into 2024, and the MarTech 150 evolved to the MarTech 250, to the MarTech 3000, to the 5000, and now they just kind of left it at the MarTech 5000. But there are over 11,000 MarTech companies out there selling to marketers and selling to salespeople. Most of it is automation. which means buyers are just getting automated to death. They're just bombarded with messages. So I think this is so important for us to always remember that our buyers, the way that we behave, the way that we act is the exact same way our buyers act. We're the center of our universe. We know we need information. We want to stay attuned to what's going on in our industry. And traditionally, historically, all that information came to us through salespeople. It was direct mail, it was phone calls, eventually it became email. But because all of that automation, we are getting so many inbound emails and so many inbound messages that we just don't answer our phones. We don't go, I used to, I don't know, it's been at least 10 years. I used to go to my spam folder because I'm like, oh, I wonder if anything important came in here. I don't bother doing that. I haven't bothered doing that. So I don't know how long. It's probably been close to 8 years that I just don't bother going to spam because there's just so much stuff. And I get frustrated when the spam messages don't get in my spam filter. They come to my inbox and I go, oh shit, I got to get rid of this. I got to go delete the crap. Right? Fair. You guys are all in the same boat, right?
Yep.
Our buyers are all in the exact same boat. So this is the model that I've been talking about. I call it the circle of trust. What buyers do, what we all do is we allow certain information to get to us while trying to keep out other information that just bugs us, spam, cold outreach. And we do that through people we trust. We've got all kinds of words we could use. They're friends, they're experts, there's trusted advisors, they're influencers, whatever word we want to use. The reality is they're people who we choose to let into our world. And the tools or the channels that they use, that we use, are live shows, our social posts, our videos, our podcasts, whatever that channel might be. And everybody has the channels they prefer. Right? I have certain podcasts that I subscribe to for a period of time. You guys all probably do the same thing. You have key people in LinkedIn that you follow. You go and ring their bell to make sure that you get notifications when they post. But all of those methods are really designed to say, I want to keep out what I want to keep out, and I want to let in what I want to let in. And we use stereotypes to help us make quick decisions. So when we think of people as a vendor or a cold caller or a salesperson, right now our motion is keep them. I don't want any more salespeople. I don't want any more shit in my phone or my email. I just keep the stuff out. And that's where we put up these walls and we use tools to keep them out. And this is what our buyers are experiencing at massive scale. And Cups's post yesterday was his fatigue and his frustration just going, enough. And the reality for all of us is our buyers are in the exact same boat. They're fatigued. They're frustrated. They've had enough. And here we're out here going, yeah, but I'm different. Everybody thinks they're different. But in order to be different, we actually have to act different. And I do this, and it doesn't matter. It could have been anybody, but when the sales pitch comes too soon or in an aggressive way, well, then we keep them out. We ghost them. Right? This is why ghosting in sales is so high. We unsubscribe, we unfollow, we stop paying attention to anything they post in the news feed because we're just fatigued and we don't want it anymore. Am I on target? And anything you guys want to add to it or say differently?
I understand. I
Spot on.
understand completely what you're saying here. It's making a lot of sense.
To play devil's advocate, Brandon, I mean, I guess the only time when if what you're if your company brand, I mean, there's you as a salesperson, your company brand, and then if that aligns with the timing, right, of when a
Timing.
customer is looking,
Yes,
right? So that could be when the exception is, right? The frequency of the
absolutely.
need, the where the buyer is in the sales process, right?
Yeah, it's becoming less and less efficient as a model though, because if we look at a TAM, or total addressable market, the data will show, and it varies a little bit by industry, but overall, the number that Gartner and others use is 3%, give or take 2%. So let's say it's anywhere between 1 to 5% of your TAM is currently in market. So that motion then of outreaches, we are in a red ocean of competing with all of our competitors to try and capture attention of 5%, potentially up to 5% of our TAM who are currently in market. And I'm not saying get rid of it. We just have to be realistic about the fruit that could come from that. So what I believe the better way, the more efficient way, is how do we create demand? And it's not a marketing motion anymore, because salespeople have to behave in the same manner to fill pipeline, right? It used to be we could call, and fill pipeline. But if the call isn't working because of all the things we just discussed, how are we going to create pipeline? And what you said, James, it's true. And we're going to find some fruit there, but it's just not as abundant as it used to be. So how do we fill the difference? What do we do about that delta? So my belief is this: we are outside and we've got to get ourselves inside their circle of trust. We have to present ourselves in a way that they go, I want your content. I may not be in market right now, but I like you. I like what you talk about. You seem like somebody who's like me. I like what you share. I like you're human. That's where our human side comes in. We're reducing those barriers with our LinkedIn activity so that we can be in their circle of trust, so that we are consistently sharing content, sharing ideas, sharing a little bit about who we are, our travel, there's the selfies, so that when they are getting to being in market, we are top of mind. And because buyers are sick of salespeople, when they get to that in-market phase, do they contact us instead of responding to all the cold calls? Now, they may go talk to a couple people, of course, but the better that we are in creating demand and establishing ourselves as that, whatever word you want to use, expert, trusted advisor, influencer, thought leader. Again, I don't care the word, but as we establish ourselves as that, we draw more people to us, and our outreach activities tend to be more fruitful, because then you make the call and they go, oh, I know that guy. I know that name. And Chris, you and I have talked about it. I feel like I already know you. We're reducing that barrier. We're giving us a higher chance of being successful with our outreach. So demand generation or demand creation is not just a marketing action anymore. We have to be thinking about, how am I creating that demand, not just trying to go out and find who's ready to talk to me right now. I'm going to pause there for a second. I know I threw a lot out, and it's a pretty dramatic shift. All of us, we've been in sales a long time. This is a new way of looking at it, and it, in some ways, it sucks. I hate it. I would much rather, I think Seth, you and I talked about, I think the first time we had coffee. I mean, I'd love to be back in the world where I knew with some degree of confidence that if I made 100 calls, what my data was going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I miss those days of connecting with people on the phone and building the relationships and talking to them, and doing the piece you're talking about, right? The education and the creating demand. And I just find that's gone. You can't do that anymore. And mean, that's the reason why I'm sitting here today is I'm trying to learn, what's the new way of selling,
Yep. And,
because the
and
old way is broken.
the old way is broken for sure. And even then, I mean, I'll share with you guys, I've got a frustration right now, and I'm just like, wow, like this is hard.
Brandon, can I say something,
Yeah.
please? And I don't think Seth was wrong, but I think the thing that's different is selling is the same. I believe building relationships is the same. You've got to build those relationships. It's just a different way you have to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
believe the actual building of relationships sales is any different. It's just you have to do it differently.
Well, the vehicle's different.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
said.
But the LinkedIn activity is that vehicle to get us to a point where we're having those conversations, right?
Right.
So it's Brandon, your whole it's the same, but it's different statement.
Right.
I think resonates
Yeah.
well with me. And when you had those conversations, you're that much closer, further along in that journey, right? Because they've been looking at your content and they kind of feel like they know you. So
Yep.
yeah,
And
I agree with. I think that what everybody's saying is correct. It's just that the work to get to that conversation, and that's what looks different, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And even then it's not a fail safe. Like it's not perfect. I'm in a situation right now that honestly I'm like, wow, this is even harder than I thought. And I know it's hard. I had somebody that reached out to me, had been watching the show, right? So we know it's working. I mean, come back here. He had been watching our show, been paying attention to my content. I had no idea who he was, sent me a connection request, asked for a call. We had 3 really great, what I thought good conversations. Like it wasn't a discovery session. It was, all the things that we talk about with the sales process too. Like, hey, for our time today to be efficient for you or to be great for you, what do you want to accomplish? And I let him lead the conversation. He talked about his challenges as a sales leader and asked for a statement of work, and then ghosted me. I have no idea why. I have no idea what's going on. It's not perfect. I mean, sales, unfortunately, is not perfect. But, well, Seth, can I use you as an example?
Yeah.
You're here partly because that process too. Right? You and I connected on LinkedIn. You'd seen my content. We ran into each other, because of our daughters at Sanford. We moved it to a coffee. We talked, and now here you are.
Yep.
Right? So it works. It just doesn't always work. It's not a perfect science because people are people. So I want you guys to be thinking about, and Jeremy, this is where I know you keep asking these questions. This is where I want you to start. All of us start. What is your goal for your content? And when I say content, I want you guys to think it's your commenting, it's a content you share. I don't care if it's a carousel, it's a social post, it's an image. What's your goal? What do you guys want to accomplish with it? We've been indicating it, right? We want to build relationship. We want to build some rapport. What are some of those things that you want to create conversation? Sure.
I want to create conversations.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What else?
With the buyers, with the right people, with the
With the right people. Mm-hmm.
I want to create awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's missing my business is just the awareness out there of what we offer. And then go and a question, Brandon, what is your ratio of personal posts versus business posts? Because I can crank out business posts, content, educate people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the personal ones that I just have a very difficult time talking about myself and then putting it out there.
Yeah.
Totally relate.
That's a good question and a good conversation for us. I don't have a perfect answer, guys. Here's what I think. Know yourself to lead yourself. Seth, what you said is spot on. Business is easy. The personal is hard. Guess what
See,
you got?
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I could talk about myself all day. It's
Right.
the business is I have to figure out the best way how to weave that into there.
You guys both know where your challenge is,
Yeah.
right? Seth, you're in a good spot in that you've got Reem and our team that are helping you on all the business stuff as well and pushing you on the personal side. But that's that self-awareness. I can do personal leadership, entrepreneurship stuff all the time. It comes very natural to me. But getting my business focus, getting our framework, getting that messaging on our value proposition is a little bit more difficult for me. I was, for me, the prospecting side, working a room was always very easy for me. So my personal posts and that type of stuff is very easy. The getting into their mind and like, what exactly do they need and how do I phrase it? In a dyad, I'm great. But in creating content, it's my struggle. And that's what I've been trying to work on for the last year plus, is really getting that. So there's no perfect answer as to how, but that awareness, I think, is really important for each one of us. Where am I good at? Where are my weaknesses? What do I need to do to get better? The main thing we got to do is start, practice, try, learn, use this group. Hey guys, you guys are using it well on LinkedIn in our group message. I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? Let the group help you build confidence. Let the group help you, refine what you're thinking. And using our good peer pressure. What do we need to do to be more consistent? I want you guys thinking about this. I don't have a perfect answer for each one of you, but I want you to be thinking about your goals. And I think everything you guys said is falls into this. Just maybe you have different terms or the way you're thinking about it. But these are my goals. I want to be known by the right people in the right industries. I want to be seen as trustworthy. I want to be seen as insightful. I want to be seen as helpful. I want to be seen as valuable. I want to be interesting. Interesting, I think, is important because we have to stand out from all the other noise. And that's where a lot of my personal type stuff comes in. And I want them to know what I do for them, what I can do for them. So I want to encourage you guys to write a goal or a mission around your content. We've all been in this enough. We all been in personal development enough. We know that if we don't write our goals down, it's just a dream. Write it down. This one for me has evolved. I tweak it, but overall, this is my focus of content. And again, when I say content, it's also my commenting. Because remember, when we comment, we get in front of more people than when we just post. But I want to establish myself as influential. The reason influential is important because when buyers have A or B, and A or B, one of them looks more influential, is more known, is more connected, they get favor, they get preferential treatment, or however you want to look at it. They're more likely to engage that person over the competition. I help B2B companies effectively use LinkedIn for business growth. That's what I want my content to do. I want you guys to be creating your own mission statement or your goal statement, the why of your presence on LinkedIn. And I break it down these two ways. Where's the expertise side? How am I creating demand by being an expert? And there's a lot of little like sub thoughts in there that I want you guys to run with. And again, I'm so concerned about terms because there's so many gurus out there that term and coin things and then put a definition to it. I don't want us to split hairs on it, but I want you guys to be thinking about that. How do I want to be known? What do I do for them? How do I create demand by sharing stories, sharing case studies, sharing insights, sharing ideas? And then the second thing for me is the who I am, because I still believe the know, like, and trust is so valuable. We just do it differently, to Butch's point, Chris's point. I think we all kind of made it. That relationship side of selling is still really important. It's a difference of, are we part of the sea of sameness? We're just one of many faces out there trying to get their attention. Or are you Jeremy? Are you Chris? Are you Butch, right? Throw your name in there. So I break it down in those two categories. And the way that I've done this, I'm going to show you my content. I'm going to call it a strategy and a plan, but you guys are going to look at it and be very underwhelmed. I don't have like these charts and frameworks and all that stuff, like all the gurus will, like, here's the framework, you got to fill it in. For me, I look at it as a map that leads me every day. But here's the way I break it down. What is my overarching theme? The overarching theme is important because that's how they're going to start remembering you. For me, it's 24/7, 365 super conference. That's why I look at LinkedIn. It's a mindset shift. It helps me tell the story of ways to use LinkedIn, but it's an overarching theme. So I want you guys to be thinking about, what is that overarching theme? And it may not be perfect. Perfection's overrated anyways, right? The 24/7, 365 super conference for me, there's some holes in it. People can ask them, well, how does it relate to this? Yeah, you got me. It's not a perfect analogy. But overall, it helps put me into be more memorable, because that's my theme that they could place me into. I want you guys to be thinking about your theme. The second then is, well, what are all the supporting subtopics that I talk about that lead into the theme? And I'm just going to show you guys here in a second. And then the third piece is, what do I want to show them about my human side? What do I do to help become known and liked and trusted? Prior to LinkedIn, I had 5 questions. I called them my back pocket questions. They were topics that were about the other person, but they were topics that were important to me, so that I was being authentic. I wasn't just asking questions to ask questions. People could see right through that. Right? If I just go, well, hey, what's your goal in life? And I really don't care. They're going to see it, sense that. They're going to feel it. And it's just a bullshit conversation I'm trying to have. I want people to genuinely know that I care and I'm interested. So my 5 questions were about topics that were important to me, but I made the focus about them. You know, I used to ask people like their jobs and what you're doing. And I would say, do you still love what you're doing? Because that's part of who I am and my identity. I want people to be full. I want to help people discover that sweet spot in life where they go, gosh, I've created a life that I love and I'm proud of, and I'm, you know, all that stuff that you guys know about me, and I get on that soapbox. But I brought questions that were about them, but it gave me that opportunity to have a conversation that was personal and human and demonstrated my care. And it was all designed to move me down the like, trust, and remember side axis. You know, I look at it as an axis, it's a progression, because I know that the more they like me, the more likely I have an opportunity to sell. Plus, I just like selling that way. So I want you guys to be thinking about that. And what I'm going to do is, let me bring this up. Hold on. I'm going to show you here's my my content strategy, if you will. Here's my overarching theme. I've got a section in here of why this matters. And then these are all my subtopics. And you'll see I've got a bunch of these bullet points. Now, the one thing that you may want to do that'll help you is take your subtopics and subgroup them into, different like topics within the bullet points. That may help you. This works for my crazy brain in the right way it works. And then I've got my personal side, which is I know I like talking about my entrepreneurship journey authentically, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the ugly. I talk about my family because that's really important to me and I like that. And I use dad jokes. And I use the dad jokes because I like humor. I'm not that funny, but I could use a dad joke and share humor with people. And these things help me stand out from the sea of sameness, build some credibility, and build rapport. I want to get to the point where people feel like they already know me so that when I'm reaching out, they know what I'm about, they know what I bring, what I think my value proposition is to them. I give them an overall theme to help them put me into a category. Oh, he's a guy that talks about LinkedIn as a super conference. That's huge. So this is the way that I look at my content. And then if I'm ever stuck on, oh, what do I want to post today? Well, I go to these bullet points. What's on my mind right now? What's on my heart? What have I not talked about lately? What am I learning from conversations with prospective customers? What are they struggling with? And then I build that into my content. And lately, guys, a lot of what I've been doing is just responding to conversations I have and turning that into content. So I had a conversation with a customer. We're moving into a second contract with their company. And it was very eye-opening for me with some of the struggles they were having. I was like, ooh, so next week, I'm going to be writing a lot of content that addresses the conversation that we had in that conversation. And I'm writing it for them specifically because it helps me just create better content. I feel like I'm talking to a specific person. But I know that there's a lot of people out there, just like this sales leader, that are going through the exact same thing. And so that's driving my content. Does this help you guys start to get a framework for creating your content?
Simple. Yeah, three things. Right? Breaking it, keeping it simple, and then building underneath that. I haven't done a lot of work really writing it down, and for me personally, and probably for a lot of you guys, when you actually write it down, it helps. I'm very visual, so it helps to get it out of my head onto paper, and then kind of play around with it like a piece of clay.
And for me, I've been working on my topics. It's just where, I'm hung up. I posted yesterday in the group on LinkedIn is just where, like tips, being the thought leader, posting a tip on, what to do, for, trade show giveaways, for those HR folks and whatever, because that's, one of the clients that, I work with. So,
Right.
But then there's a couple, answers, saying that, it gets, it might be too salesy. I mean, Chris mentioned, a couple other guys mentioned. I mean, it's just, where's that fine line where, I'm an expert. I want to be an expert, talk about being an expert. But if I'm talking about being an expert and sharing expert knowledge to help without selling, I'm not selling. I don't say, hey, well, reach out to me for whatever, it's just insightful tips.
Yeah. And look, I fail at this one, but an idea for you, Jeremy, is the polls. Just go ask people.
Yeah.
Hey, when you're looking at swag for your booth, what's important to you? What do you think about? I mean, I'd go tap into Chris, who talks to people all the time that are building booths, right? Like go ask people. That's part of your thought leadership, is just being the center of that conversation.
One thing too, and I can't remember where I saw this, but I believe it was you, Daniel, where you popped in a bunch of stuff, or you popped in questions into ChatGPT, and said, here's my idea, this is what I'm wanting, and then make it more not salesy. And then it spits out stuff, and then make it more whatever.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of that. Actually, that's where I got a lot of my topics from, and put in the chat GTP and give me 100 topics, on a certain subject, and then pump out 100 of them. I mean, I'd have 100 of them just to work from, where I can continuously try and build, topics moving forward, and I just pick through the list and, try and then have ChatGTP write the content from it, and then try to make it more friendly, try to make it, more engaged, and so yeah, I mean, it's
start trying, Jeremy. Just start, just keep testing, trying, put things out, and know that the other thing with the algorithm is sometimes you'll put something out, and we've all talked about this, and you feel like you bombed, but it may not be the content. It just might have been the day. It might have just been the algorithm. It might have been the time you did it.
Yeah.
That
one I posted, that first big personal one I posted on Monday, with me, Little League baseball, and I thought that was going to be, huge, but it didn't end up being huge. But then I realized it was a holiday. What was Monday?
President's Day.
It's like, oh man, I should have looked at the calendar.
Sure. Reuse it. Do it again next month.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Daniel's got a tool coming for you guys that's going to be a content, a post repurposer. But basically take a post and based on your twin, it's just going to rewrite it for you, and you can publish it again.
Okay. Now, do you guys use anything as far as LinkedIn's got their own thing as far as, engagement, how many likes and views it's got, or it'll populate it? I mean, there's other systems out there that do that, where you can aggregate all of them and say, okay, well, this one did really good, and then that's the one to repost.
Yeah, so you can just go to your post impressions in LinkedIn, and if you go in your post impressions, and you can say from the past 365 days, and it's going to start giving you the posts that got the most impressions, and you can start looking at the content, and you guys can see. I think, Chris, you said it earlier, like the personal, we've all said it, but the personal posts get all the impressions, right? My new role when we changed the name of the show, this one was my wife and I were helping Abby moved into her new apartment, and the post was actually on teamwork and adapting to the situation. But I used the picture of Megan on my shoulders because we were hanging, I don't know, curtains or something in her room, and I forget the details, but we didn't have the right tool, and we forgot the ladder, so she was on my shoulders, blah blah blah. But this is where you can see all your posts that have done the best. And yeah, there's tools out there to do it for you too. I think Shield app is one of them. You gotta be careful with Shield because it scrapes data and breaks the T's and C's. But guys, I want to show you this, and if you have to leave at noon, I probably should have done this in 2 sections, but I know some of you guys are biting at the bit to get access to this, and Daniel's been working his butt off getting this ready and done. So if you need to leave at noon, I'll keep going. This will be recorded. Just go in. We're at like the, I don't know, 50th minute. Just fast forward through the video. But so we got two things that are coming.
That's what I was going to ask you, Brandon. Is this available now? The content studio or the creator studio? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's going to keep getting better. You know, Daniel likes to throw it out there. Hey, we're in beta because he doesn't want to be, you know, it's not perfect, but it's also, we want you guys using it. And James and Seth, you know, Reem and Nora are using this for you as well. Cups, you as well. But it's also available for you guys to use. And I want you seeing it too, because this is available for the rest of your team that we could use it as well. There's two tiers to it. Remember, our AIQ is where we're training the model around your business. That's why we had your brand guidelines, your value proposition. We put all that in there. And then we also have your twin. So the first thing I want to show you is we can go into Creator Studio. Oops, I got to log out. You know what? I'm going to reverse it, guys, real quick, just so I don't have to log out of this account and log back in. So this is where you notice I'm logged in here. It's a fake account called Philip Bumble. What we're able to do is create posts. James, this might be something that we integrate. Cups, this could be something for both of you guys that are using Funnel Amplified. We could also integrate it into Funnel Amplified. This is where we can create a post. Comes out of AIQ, so it's all about the company messaging, the brand, and everything. And we deliver it to people on the team that they can then twin it. This is where the individual twin comes in. So this would be that, let's pretend here this fake account, Philip Bumble, with this good-looking guy down here, his picture without a beard, without the goatee. I can come in. These are all the posts that have been created. These are all just fake posts, fake account, guys. But what anyone on the team can do is come in here and say, hey, I want to use this post. And they'll select twin it. And what it'll do is give them the opportunity to rewrite it based on their twin. So this means it'll rewrite it in their words, their word choice, their tone, their style. And we even have part of the setting is their role in the company. And so all of that will influence how the twin will rewrite it. Now, I can adjust my settings if I want. These are all the settings that they pre-create, or, oops, or the easy thing, I just say, rewrite it for me. And what it'll do, rewrite it for me. Daniel, did I do something wrong?
No, you were doing it. I need to add a little loading mask over the post. It was rewriting it.
Got it.
Um,
So what it'll do is rewrite it for that individual in their own words, their own tone, and their own style. And then once it rewrites, they could come in here and, you know, manually edit themselves if they choose to. But then once they're done, they just simply say publish to LinkedIn, and it'll publish to LinkedIn. So the idea is it'll take them 30 seconds and create a post that's personal to them. It's written in their voice and their style. And they just simply then say publish to LinkedIn. And I don't know if I did something wrong on there, Daniel, maybe because I went back. I don't know. I tested it. It was all working the last several days, but
that's what demos do.
that's what demos do.
Of course.
Any questions on the twin it part right now in my awful demo of it?
Super cool.
Okay.
And,
So,
you could just take it as, if you didn't want to rewrite, because sometimes, especially the way we're creating it for you, you might like it well enough to just tweak it for yourself without twinning it. You know, there's always the option of just publishing it as is, as you get it, or if you want to rewrite it, either one. But I will definitely give you an update once I know why that didn't work.
What's the assumption as far as like where the original content came from and how we get it into the tool?
Where the original content came from? Yeah, so somebody on the team, whether it's our concierge doing it for you or like an admin, will come in and use the AI queue to create it. It's going to be a very similar process to what I'm about to show you right now. There's a way to create posts, whether you're creating it for you as an individual or we create it for everybody on the team. And I can show you that process right now. Right. So creating a post, when we do it for the company and then share it with everybody on the team, it's slightly different, but it's basically the same process. So if you want to create a post and you've trained your twin, we come in here to create a post. The first thing you have up here is your tone. And you guys all know I ask these questions like on a scale of 1 to 10, from 1 being totally personal to 10 being business, where do you like your tone to be? This gives you that opportunity. We just break it down into 5. So if you go way over here, this is going to be a totally personal post in tone. Or over here, it's just very strict professional post. Nor and Reem and I are working on this to really fine tune all these templates. And we've got templates that we've created, and I don't know if that's the right word, template. It's more of the post structure. This is taking all of our, not just my posts, but all the people that I follow and I pay attention to, and I see their post structure. I go, wow, that was a really great structure. We're turning that into one of these templates for you. Okay, so I don't want you to get overwhelmed. We've got a ton of them in there right now, and we're gonna narrow it down a bit. But you can come in here and say, hey, I want to do a post. I want it to be somewhat personal. I'm going to choose a reflection on my career. And in a topic, I could go in and find specific articles or specific questions I've answered in my twin, or I could choose just the overall topic. So I can come in here and take one about my job and load our own photo. So this is where you can add your selfies. Daniel's got it in here. It's going to integrate with Canva, so you can go pull in a stock photo too if you want. But I can come over here and take any image. Right here, I can tell my twin, use this as AI to give it more instructions or not. And I click write post. And what it's going to do is rewrite that post for me based on the topic or the answers of a question that I had given to it inside of my twin, and it's going to rewrite it for me.
Can you do it without picking a topic? Since I believe since we're using a test user, and it doesn't have any, just don't leave the topic off.
Okay.
We should answer questions for the test user to be able to show them.
You're right.
With a real user, they would have a better experience. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, Philip hasn't trained his twin, so we need to get that done.
Yeah, it'd be a better that way.
So hopefully that little hiccup there didn't throw it off, guys. What we can do is basically we're building parameters to help you build posts with more confidence and more consistent. Here's the structure the post should be in. Here's a hook. Here's bullet points. Here's whatever. Choose the topics you want based on your twin and say, write it for me. And it'll be in a set structure, answers from your twin. So it's your voice and style and tone and your words, and it'll rewrite it for you. And then all you have to do is you can edit it if you want, read it, edit it, and then when you're done, you just publish it to LinkedIn.
That's cool. That's really cool.
What I really like about it is these templates, I hope, are going to help alleviate all the stress and fear of, did I write it well? Did I do it? But these structures to it, I hope gives confidence and helps you guys be more efficient with your content creation.
Well, Brandon, from my perspective, we have preset templates in Salesforce that our sales team sends out, mass emails.
Yeah.
Right. But that tool is becoming, I guess, less effective because of how technology is changing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love, I think that would be a good topic for maybe you and Daniel to hit on, because there's just so many people who don't understand what's happening with emails and mass emails who may use that tool. Side note, but this I see could be a really good replacement, leveraging this new, LinkedIn super conference.
Yeah.
And then having, like, as from a sales team perspective, right, plugging this in, and a manager not having to wonder what the heck is Rebecca going to say. Oh my God, she missed a punctuation. She misspelled there for the 12th time. This looks horrible in my company. Right.
Right.
So I think those templates, and for adoption for a team, right? The time spent doing it versus the benefits. So yeah, I think it could solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. And, we got create post here, but what'll come is create a LinkedIn article. It'll be the same thing, just formatted for a LinkedIn article. So now they have articles. If our goal is helping not just ourselves, but networks of salespeople on our team create demand by leveraging their LinkedIn activity, we've got the fist bump commenting tool to help them comment on a regular basis to the right people. It captures the comments and puts it in your CRM so you can see they're doing the work. And now we're doing this where we're going to help create posts for them that they just twin. And we've got a tool that they can create their personal posts without sitting around going, what do I say? How do I write it? Is the format right? Is the content right? So our goal is to create this tool that helps them just be much more efficient with this whole new era of prospecting and outreach, which is LinkedIn based. Now, no promises. I'm gonna scare Daniel right now, but as we get there and this evolves into other social networks and other pieces, create post, create a LinkedIn article, create an email, all of that can be here. And because we've got AIQ that's all about the company, and we got their twin that's their tone and style, what it should be doing is alleviating what your fear was right there, James. What is she going to say? Is it in the right structure? Does it have strategy behind it? Or is she just writing stuff to get stuff out? It should give you much more confidence that what's going out is not mass produced at scale, but it's still on brand and good quality writing.
Yeah, I mean, the other challenge is just what amount of the workforce currently, because of the speed and the rate which technology is advancing, they don't even know how to even begin to. I mean, some of the challenges that we have with 50% of our workforce is unreal. Like, open a tab, click at this, do here.
Yeah.
I mean, so like to try and even get, a percentage of the population to move toward using something like this, like simplifying it beyond belief, will, I think, help this scale a lot quicker, which is what it looks like you guys are doing. So.
And I've got a philosophical challenge internally with it. I sat in on that. I was at a Microsoft event yesterday and listening to them talk about all the AI tools that are built into Dynamics that help customer success people respond to customers faster and all that. And here's the challenge with all of this is we're not really helping people learn. And it's hard because if we want to help people learn how to write a good message and communicate in the right way, it's going to be slower. We're going to need more people to serve our customers. It means our expenses are going to be higher and we're not going to be as competitive. And so where do we sit? And it scares me, but at the same time, I know for us, if we want Fist Bump to be competitive, I mean, I spent the last several years coaching and training people with a lot of failure, right? Because they go, oh yeah. And then as soon as I'm done coaching, their activities stop. So we're building tools to help them be more efficient, and we're building tools to be as personalized and in their own voice and in their own style. But the reality is they're not doing the detail work of it to actually learn.
Yep. It takes time.
Yeah. So
Cool, dudes.
thanks, guys. Sorry I went over today.
No.
Jeremy, does this feel empowering for you?
Yeah.
Good.
I still got to get I got to get rolling with Fist Bump too. You know, it's I was having some issues with logging in. Daniel, were you able to get that worked out for me? I wasn't sure.
That's not news to me, or I must have. Sorry, I need to look back. Did you email me about that?
Yeah, I asked Brandon, and then you were
Yeah.
covering.
I
I wasn't sure if you got that fixed not or.
Jeremy, it
Okay.
was,
Yeah.
I thought we had it working and we solved that. So
Hey
I
guys, I'm
don't-
gonna jump.
Okay,
We'll see you.
See
Jeremy,
you,
nice to
James.
see you. Daniel, good
It's
talking
good
to
to see
you,
you.
man.
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm in your account and it's working fine, maybe because I'm impersonating you, I have a different experience. But like, here's all your,
Okay.
everything's, here for you.
I was just having trouble actually logging in.
I gotta go too,
The
guys.
whole
Thanks.
I think the price thing, it wasn't letting me do the credit card, and
Hmm. Okay.
I can give it a shot again.
Let's do this real quick. Let me first. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to stop recording.